This is my entry for this week's DreamSnap, Fun with Fungi. So for this one, I knew I wanted to try and get my character to look like she was sitting on the fairy garden table. Otherwise, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So, I started by grabbing all the mushroom-themed items. I thought the fairy circle looked cool going around the garden table, so I left it there. I grabbed both the blooming banners, since I wasn't sure which coloring I liked better. Adding the Ever After garden mask to help fill in the sides. Plus, I liked that it came with matching mushrooms. Shifting the mushrooms around a bit, I wanted to create a bit of a mushroom tunnel, but couldn't get them close enough for it to work. Trying to organize the mushrooms a bit, I kept trying to put a mushroom there, but the tree and mushroom cluster wouldn't let me. Scattering around some mushrooms on the sides to try and fill in the empty spots. Adding some golden felt cap mushrooms, and comparing the two banners. And decided I liked the darker one better. Trying to add another in the tunnel, but could only get it at the end. Adding some pink toadstools, trying to scatter them in at the edges, and grabbing the mushroom manor to add at the end of the tunnel. Getting a better angle, and adding the muddy path with border for a path leading from the house, and adding it around the table. Centering the house, adding more golden mushrooms, making the path a little wider, adjusting the mushrooms to line up better with the path. Finally noticed I missed a spot under the table, adding more trees and mushroom clusters. Debated about adding the fairy tale tree, but it didn't quite feel right. Scattering in some large Ever After trees, and some more mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms. Adjusting the banner in the back, tried to get in another, but it didn't fit. Adjusting the smaller mushrooms, adding the pastel flower patch along the edges of the path, to get in a bit more of a lush garden vibe. I didn't mind it overlapping a bit, as I thought that helped with the nature feel. Adding some to the foreground as well, scooting the mushroom a bit to fit in another flower patch. Trying to add another golden mushroom there, but it wouldn't let me, so adding them to the other side. I wanted to add some texture to the path, so I tried adding the garden path stones. They were a little narrow for the path, so I shifted them over to double them up. Adding some Mome Wraith living path, as I thought they looked interesting, and I felt like they added to the fairy vibe, and filled in some of the empty spots the stones didn't fit. I liked the whimsical wheelbarrow, but wasn't really sure where to put it. I had to do some shuffling, but I liked it there. Considered the beautiful blooming flower pot, but it didn't quite fit the vibe. Scattered in some magnolia bloom piles. I liked the idea of using the vine flower lamp, as I thought it fit the fairy garden vibe. And I really wanted to get the second one closer, but it didn't want to fit, so I stuck it in the back. Adding some vine walls to help block off the back, so I can add some tags back there. Looking for anything else I might want to add. And I like the orchard's lavender vase, so I added it to the table. I thought the leaf pile rug would be fun to add for more green, but it didn't fit on the path, so I ended up putting it under the table. Adjusting the lavender, and adding in some pink petals, where I can, and scattering in some white ones as well. And figured it was time to add some tags. And while placing tags, I found the teapot and Rapunzel's flower. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them, but thought I would try them there for now. Adding some fireflies, and a few Vitelli lights. And decided to move the teapot over. Moved the table aside so I could get into place, turning the fairy flower garden on to try and get some petals in the shot. Moving it closer now that I know which way it needs to be placed for the petals to be in the shot. Scooting the Tinker Fairy light over a bit, now to glitch my character into the table. I put it on top of my character, picked it back up, and hit escape twice, once to let go of the table, and again to exit furniture mode. Sadly, I believe this version of the glitch is only usable on PC. Not in a good spot, trying again. For the pose, I am using Magic Carpet's companion pose, and then hiding the companion, so it looks like I am on the table. I wish my character was slightly higher up, but overall I like it. Not really liking the teapot, so getting rid of it. Adding more vine walls to hide some tags that were sticking out, and another Tinker light in the background. Adjusting some things to get it a little further back, adding one to the other side, trying to move it further up, but it doesn't want to fit along the path. Considered adding it to the side instead, but decided to put it in the foreground to try and glitch the camera through it to get some glowing sparkles. Adding some flower petals to the table. The glowing sparkles are cool, but they don't feel like they are in the right spot. Checking if second camera is better. Too far away. Grabbing the Vizier's alchemy table to push the camera forward. Adding a water lily to the table. Checking how that looks. Better, but the camera positioning isn't right, so I need to adjust the alchemy table to help with that. Scooting things around to try and get the table in a better spot. Not sure that did much, but let's see if that helped. And that's feeling a little better, but she's too far forward, and blocking the entire pathway. Trying again. Still blocking. Trying to adjust the banner to get it in the shot, but it doesn't want to go closer. Moving it aside and shifting the garden and light. Still can't get the banner in. Moving the mushrooms aside to see if that helps. It doesn't. Shifting the garden a bit and putting the mushrooms back. Checking how that looks. And I kind of want to try having my character look off to the side a bit, so I use the camera to turn her head, then pause the animation. So when I turn the camera back, she still looks that way. Not quite right, adjusting placement. Using selfie mode to turn her. She's still a bit more blocking than I'd like. That angle is a little better, but still not sure about it. Dropping some items I thought would be fun to add. Moving the leaf rug so I can move the items out of the way. Putting the rug back. Putting the table back. Scattering in some moss. Placing a bunch along the path. Adding a bunch of small mushrooms. And a few pine cones. Putting the electric power battery and some mechanical parts on the table. To maybe look like she was working on something. Adding some gears and more mechanical parts. Adjusting the light. And decided to try adding another light instead of the banner. Checking how that's looking. Better, but something's still off. So, adding some buttons for sparkles to see if that helps. I don't mind the sparkles, but Rapunzel's flower is feeling too blocking. Getting rid of it. Shifting some things on the table, and adding some water lilies along the path. Checking how that's looking. Better, but something's still not feeling right, so I want to try a lower second camera angle. To do that, I switched back into selfie mode, crouched, then uncrouched, and switched back into second camera mode immediately. Better? Not feeling sure, so I want to try adding a water lily to the right foreground, and I want to try third camera mode again, but I still like the idea of her looking off to the side, so I'm adding a villager to drag them over, so she can look at them. Trying to get to Rapunzel, hanging out with her, and pulling her to the front of the shot. Getting back into position. I'd also like to see if adding a glow behind my character helps at all. So, scooting some things around to add a Vitali light, display pillar, and another light behind her. Adjusting positioning. Now that I'm in third camera mode, and have a nearby villager, I just have to switch into the glider animation, then she will turn to look at Rapunzel. I like that, but the lights are in a bad spot. So, adjusting them, and adding an enchanted castle oil lamp for a little more height. Checking how that looks. Better, but they still need to scoot over a little. Scooting them a bit. Checking if that helped. Better, but the glow isn't really helping. Getting rid of it. Yeah, that's feeling better. Something was still bothering me though, and I couldn't figure out what. So, after sitting on it a bit, I realized the path was making it feel too busy. So, I came back and cleaned up the stones. That was feeling a little better. Getting back into position and getting Rapunzel into a better spot. Checking how that looks. I liked that better, but I need to get my character into a better spot, as I wanted her hand closer to the battery thing. Trying again. Better. Still a bit busy, but I like it. If you're curious, this snap took nearly 3 hours to do. Thank you for watching the video. Please like it if you found it at all helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more like this.